Hello and happy International Networking Week. Tiffanie Kellog here with Asentiv, and I'm excited to be joined by some of my fellow Asentiv facilitators from around the globe as we're celebrating International Networking Week. Welcome, y'all.
Great to be here.
Hello.
Great to be here. Great. Thank you.
Yes. Well, to get us started, I thought I'd kick it over to Tom Fleming, who has been around networking for quite a long time, to tell us a little bit about the history of International Networking Week and what it's all about. So, Tom, I'm going to kick it over to you.
I've been around forever. This is the 15th annual International Networking Week celebration, if you will. The concept was created by Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of Asentiv and of BNI, as a way for us as business professionals to come together to celebrate everything that networking and relationship development does for us as small business owners. The intention of International Networking Week within the framework of a celebration is let's get bunches and bunches of business professionals from a local community together, give each other an opportunity to meet each other, begin the relationship development process within the whole framework of, again, celebrating what relationships and networking does for us all as small business owners and commissioned sales representatives.
Thanks, Tom, for a little bit of an overview. I feel like I should have some what are those noisemakers for our celebration? So excited to be celebrating here. And for those of you watching live, do put into the chat box, how long have you been networking? What part of the world are you networking? Where are you coming in from? So we can say hello to you. And I'm actually going to ask our people that we have here on the screen to kind of give us a little bit of who are you? Where are you from? So maybe hello in whatever your first language or the language they speak in your country is. And, how long have you been networking for? What has networking meant for you?
I'd also like to know what time it is in other parts.
And yeah, that's a great one. What time is it? Who's got the latest time of the day? It's 8:17 here. Stefan, what time is it there?
2:18 p.m.
2:18 p.m. And how about you, Agneta?
It's the same.
2:18. Okay, so it's tied. So we're gonna go ladies first. So Agneta, if you want to kind of give us who you are, where you're from, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes, Agneta Rebo, from the northern parts of Sweden. So I'm actually 800 kilometers north of Stefan, quite close to the Arctic Circle. And I've been networking for more than 10 years to get to know more people and have more fun. And of course, also getting more business.
And what do you find networking's created for you?
Well, one example is we moved actually up here 4 years ago, and we didn't know anyone. So the first steps we took was to get networking. BNI, different sport associations, and other come-togethers for business people. So actually, every contact we have now is through networking.
Awesome. Yeah, I can understand that. When I moved here, so in 2003, I moved to Florida, and I didn't know anybody. And pretty much still, it's either people that I'm related to, family, some way, shape, or form, or it's people that I've met some way, shape, or form through BNI and the people that I've known in the networking world. So networking can be pretty amazing. My best friends was the vice president of my BNI chapter, her and her husband, years and years and years ago, and they're still our best friends. We've got Super Bowl plans this weekend, so I get you. Let's meet new folks. And I thought, Tom said, what time is it there? Also, what temperature is it there? It's frigid here in Florida for us at 8 degrees Celsius, which is the high 40s Fahrenheit for those of you in the U.S. But I have a feeling it's way colder where you're at, Agneta.
Yes, we have about 10 below zero.
Ooh.
And we have 60, 70 centimeters of snow. The last couple of days we got new 30 centimeters above the one we had before. So it's winter time and it's beautiful.
I'll be right over with my skis.
Yes, you're welcome, Tom. Come and ski.
There you go. Now, before I turn it over to Stefan to introduce himself, for those of you watching, whether you're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, I would love to have you put in the comments, who are you? What part of the world are you from? Are you doing anything to celebrate International Networking Week? And I was thinking one other thing, but yeah, just put your stuff in so we can, say hi to you. But we're going to turn it over to Stefan to introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Tiffany. And my name is Stefan Moulander. I'm situated in Stockholm, Sweden, which is a little bit south of Agneta. It's not that much snow here; it's just almost nothing. But it's I love snow, so I'm brought up in the northern part of Sweden as well. And I'm currently managing the Asentiv business here in the Nordic countries. And coming from the corporate world, starting in my own business 2003, someone told me that, Stefan, you need to start networking to get clients, because the contacts I have through my corporate world did not want me as a client. So I needed to start from zero. And long story short, I almost networked myself to death until I understood and learned what networking is all about. It's not about having 30,000 contacts on LinkedIn. It's not about being part of a networking group. It's art of inspiring others in order to help you in both ways. So that's two important part, to inspire other people so they want to help you. And that is the core principles of networking in my day, because that's the basic is about building relationships with other people. And most people, unfortunately, miss that, because I think sometimes my mistake, I was doing face-to-face cold calling, which I thought was networking because I needed clients. So that is, I think, what I learned over these years, and my business dramatically changed when I start to understand the idea about what networking is all about. And there's still a lot to do out there, and I think it's very good to have a International Networking Week to facilitate what this really is and not what it's not.
Totally understand. Yeah, when I first got into networking, so for me, it was 2005 when I first got into networking, and I had no clue what I was doing. And I'm like, there's a lot of things they tell you to do that, like you mentioned, that direct prospecting instead of networking. It's like, yeah, I'm here to sell. The lessons that we learned. And for those of you watching, we are actually going to share a couple of our top tips when it comes to networking here in a few moments. So do feel free, if you have any questions, to put those in the chat box, or also leave your comments of who you are and where you're from. As I move over to our senior networker on the call, Mr. Tom Fleming, to tell us a little bit about him. And how do you say, hello from where you're from? Greetings from Florida.
Yes, pretty much. Stefan, how do you say hello?
Hey.
Say again.
Hey.
Hey.
H-E-G. Hey.
Hey. Okay. And I presume the same for you near the Arctic Circle?
Yes, it's the same.
Okay, very good. Well, in the States here, we say hey, H-E-Y, so I can remember hey, H-E-G. Morning, everybody. At least that's my time frame. Yes, it's 8:24 a.m. in the great state of Florida, where it is indeed 48 degrees. And, I think networking is all about what Tiffanie has behind her: saving time, making money, and having fun. Specifically, it is fun to meet new people. It is fun to develop relationships with them. It is fun to hang out with them. It's fun and fulfilling to learn how to help them and to also help them. And within that philosophy or that framework, when you're helping other people, you're letting them know, I'm on your team. I'm on your team. And subsequently, you're inviting them to be on your team. And that's when the law of reciprocity takes over, and there's actually an exchange of energy between two people or a larger group of people where they're all in support of one another. In the words of Norm from Cheers, he said, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear. And that's a dog snack for those of you who are international. And yeah, that's what my experience was like in corporate America, Stefan. But within the framework of networking, being surrounded by so many positive, goal-oriented, get it done, make it happen type of people, man, those are the types of people that I love to hang around.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom, for sharing. And then I'm Tiffanie Kellog, the hostess of today's call. I've been networking since 2005. So in the United States, people most often will say hello or hey, though I have a tendency to say hola, which is just me bringing a little bit of Spanish. I don't use a lot of Spanish, but that is my usual greeting. Hola, how's it going? And I love this idea of networking as an opportunity to meet the people that you don't yet know. It's an opportunity to find those gaps of the people that you need in your world, whether that's business or personal, to get them in. And I am going to have us all share a tip on how to be more successful at networking. But at first I thought, and this is not something I planned, I was just like, ooh, this could be fun. What are some big like networking don'ts, or please don't do this, it makes you cringe? Has there been a story, something that was just like, oh, I can't believe they did that? What have you seen go horribly wrong when networking?
Well, I would say people getting in there and immediately try to sell to you, or maybe even worse, the first time you see them, they give you their business card and say, recommend me to everyone you know. Well, no, I won't. I won't recommend someone that I don't know, that I don't have trust in. I need to have trust in them as a person, in what they do. And so it's work to be done before I want to recommend someone. Because when you recommend someone, you also kind of put your own name at stake. If they don't deliver, it falls back on you. So you really have to trust the people that you want to recommend.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a bad thing. Hey, like I just met you, but recommend me. It's a little bit awkward. And we've got somebody from Facebook. I'm not sure who you are, Facebook user. If you want to tell us your name, if you're posting on Facebook. Somebody said walking up to someone and give them their business cards. So whether it's just give them their business cards or give them the business cards and say, hey, give me the recommendation. Maybe not the best way to start off a relationship. This whole business card thing, I like to call it in-person spamming. Like we don't like the spam on the email, but why is it okay in-person spamming to walk up to somebody for the very first time and it's like, yeah, here you go, here's a card. What are you going to do with it? And it's Elizabeth that's hanging out here on Facebook making comments. Hi, Elizabeth. And that actually brings a funny story to mind. I was at a networking event once, and we were doing an Asentiv table. And I was there, and Jason Avery, who's one of our facilitators for Asentiv, and my husband happened to be there. They were both working the booth a couple feet behind me. And some guy just like randomly walked up to me and was like, hey, here's my card. I'm like, sweet. What do you want me to do with it? And the look on his face, like, it doesn't help that Rob and Jason are now laughing hysterically behind me. Like, I didn't intend to do this. It was just like, what do you want me to do with this? And I didn't say it in that way, but it was just hysterical. Like the look on the guy's face was like, I don't know. And if you don't know what you want me to do with the card, how am I supposed to know? All right, and thank you, yeah, Elizabeth from Facebook. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you haven't hooked Facebook up to Restream, it doesn't say who you are, just Facebook user. If you go to Restream.io/Facebook, it should hook up your account and show who you are for those of you watching. But we love your comments. We would love to hear your stories as well. Gentlemen, do you have any, like, here's what not to do or funny or horror stories from networking?
Go right ahead, Stefan.
Oh, okay. Which one of them? Actually, I have to relate to what Agneta just said. This morning, I got an invitation, LinkedIn invitation from a woman who wanted me to refer her to my network in the first message. And I think what people doesn't understand, network is not selling. And it was selling to me. It's about relation building. And it's I would say, it's called networking, not net sit or a net eat or a net drink. It's called network. You have to work with your contacts to establish a network. That's what I'm saying again. Having 30,000 contacts on LinkedIn doesn't mean that you have a network. You have contacts. And that I see every day. People believing that if you're just a contact, refer me. Because they don't understand that networking is a process. It's a long term. You have to sow before you can reap. And as most people are so active in and wanting to have results right now, they start to sell. And you might sell something to one person, but instead of building relationships with one, you can have ending up with hundreds of opportunities. And I think that's one of the mistakes I see so often. Unfortunately, it's not that people are stupid or something, they just don't understand. They need to get the knowledge to help them to come over the hurdle, which I did a couple of years ago. So that's my impression about there's so many other examples of people just talking, not listening, because they want to be there. I'm talking. And then one example, I had a sales manager, sales consultant. I talked the networking about. That guy talked in 2 minutes and didn't have the interest of asking me what I did. So that's one of the applications that it's about asking and listening. How can we help each other? Not right now, maybe later, but when we start starting to establish our relationships. That's what networking is about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that people take this idea of business networking and they think it's different than relationships that we have in our personal lives. I often like to call networking to, compare it to dating. Stefan, if I'm meeting somebody for the very first time that has significant potential as a partner, I'm not going to ask them to marry me or move in with me or anything else on that first encounter. We got to take the time to develop the relationships. And I think you're dead on. We've got to develop those relationships, take that time to get to the appropriate point to then ask for the business, ask for the recommendations, ask for the referrals. Definitely. And I love that you bring up, getting the right knowledge. So we are all facilitators in our different respective parts of the world for an organization called Asentiv that has a heavy focus on how do we generate referrals from the right relationships that can flow into our business all day, every day, which is how we help get our more money, more time, and more fun that we've got going on. So you can definitely check out Asentiv.com for more information. Tom, do you have a tip or a horror story or a funny story you want to share with us?
Well, first, I think if we asked everybody on this Facebook Live, what is the number one networking faux pas, everyone would probably share selling to a new relationship. It's just number one on the list, if you will. But I think one faux pas that I think is important for people to be conscious of is that cliche of you only get one chance to make the first impression. And you want to make sure that you're appropriate with folks, professional with folks, and you take interest in them. I think a great networker is someone who has the ability to ask extraordinary questions. Extraordinary questions. Show interest in the folks you're speaking with and the folks that you're developing relationships with, and they'll reciprocate. And this is what Stefan alluded to just a moment ago when he said he had a conversation with a gentleman who did not take a breath for 2 minutes and told Stefan everything there was about him, but never wound up asking Stefan anything about him.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom, for sharing. Interesting question that just came through. Where is Asentiv located? Asentiv is all around the globe. Stefan, where are you located again?
I'm in Sweden, Stockholm, Sweden, and then
All right.
Norway and Finland.
Agneta?
Northern part of Sweden, near the Arctic Circle.
Tom?
But Tiffanie, there's franchises in Asia and Europe and the United States and
just get there.
all over the world, and we are all committed to support small business owners that rely on referrals to grow their business by teaching them the strategies, the techniques, and providing them the tools to grow their business so that they can make more money and save quite a bit of time.
Yes. Tom and I are located in Florida, though we're on Zoom all the time. We've got people in Australia, Asia, Europe. I know we had
Japan.
Huh?
Japan. Well, that's Asia, maybe.
Japan. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Do we have? I know we had Africa and South America. So I mean, we're just all over the place. Happy to be able to help out. And nowadays, at least with Zoom, we can be all around the globe helping people. We have our Facebook user that shared, in the class I attended with Tom Fleming, he uncovered why and how I got into sales. That is definitely a topic that we love to talk about in the Asentiv realm. And I think that your why is super powerful and one of the things that you want to share when networking, which leads us to our next part of today. As promised, what's one of your networking tips? And okay, I know that we could have this conversation for like 3 days and still be going, but in a minute or so, what's a networking tip that you want to share with the people that are watching us? Anything else that you want them to know about this idea of networking in a minute or so? Who wants to get us started?
I can start.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is to really, really care about the other person, to have a really deep meaning of helping. That's why I do it. I want to help and help other people because it's really fun to help. And after a while, it pays back. But that's the genuine feeling to help. I want to help. I think that's the most important thing. And to be curious of people.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Love it. How about you, Tom?
Sure. I think, many years ago, I recorded a CD called Who Can Pass You Business All Day, Every Day? And the concept there is what industries are dealing with the same target market that you're dealing with? Because those people, their client list is full of potential clients for you. And I think smart networkers filter through the people they're meeting and invest time in relationships that they can not only give a lot, but also receive a lot. As Stefan has pointed out a few times on this session, it's not about having 30,000 contacts. It's about having the right relationships with the right people.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. And we've got a thumbs up from Anna Jensen, who really thought, Agneta and Tom, you had some great stuff there. Another one of our Facebook users shared, who, what, where, how, and why are the 5 questions that opens up all doors. Yes. In the Asentiv realm, we have our 10 commandments of networking a mixer, and it's ask questions and listen. And I think that's a great way to show that you care and build those relationships with the right people. And we're getting some love from that. All right, Stefan, what's your tip that you want to share with us?
It's actually a very a tip. It's not a tip actually. It's a mindset thing. What I've seen is that most people, they start networking when they run into some problems. Lack of clients, lack of a job, a career, they are out of job, whatever. Then they start, because then they need, and that's what they do, they start to sell it. But that's happened when the roller coaster model, they start to do something when they try to solve a problem. What I've seen is that when people start to see that as a part of their life, doing things that be a part, it's a lifestyle, actually build a relationship with other people, then you don't need to be so active in certain times. Then you need to be, some guys told me that when you have you're full with everything, you just maxed out with things, that is most important for you is to invest in your future. And that's a term I use all the time, because that is a tip that I think people are needed, because that will help them when tough times. When tough time comes, they don't need to just run out to do things. They have established a system that works over and over again. So that's what I'm saying. This is not 1/2 a year. Okay, when I'm out of business, start networking or whatever. Go to a networking group. That might help them, but probably not. And when you start doing it as a daily thing, doing your small activities, one thing 1,000 times, it's going to help you tremendously. That's my tip.
Love it. Yes, that consistency is so key. If you network for 3 months and then you're gone, we're like, where'd they go? Are they still around? Who knows? We've got Jarmo. He's like, I'm also Swedish, but living and listening from the Philippines. So, hi, Jarmo. Glad to have you. Glad to have you watching us. And the last, to me, I think about networking, and so often, the entrepreneurs I speak to, it's almost synonymous, networking and referral marketing. And I like to separate them. To me, when I'm going to a networking event, it gives me the opportunity to meet people or see people that I already know. This is kind of the pool of people where I can develop those relationships. And we pull it to be a part of our network. These are the people that we surround ourselves with, our resources that can help us out, that we can help out. And it's from our network that we're able to develop the relationships with the people to get the referrals. And so I think sometimes people think networking, I go to an event, I sell to people, I get business. And I think there's so much more to it than just let me attend an event and get business. It's about developing the relationship, showing that you care, getting to know people, building that know, like, and trust can be massive and muy importante. That's my additional Spanish to begin to wrap up our conversation today. I think that's a very powerful thing. In our last moment here, anything else that y'all want to add in our conversation around networking, as well as happy networking, International Networking Week? Tom.
Well, it's 2 for 1 day here with Tom Fleming. So we've mentioned the word relationship about 1,000 times in this 20, 30-minute segment. And at Asentiv, we help our participants become conscious and aware of the relationship development process, the VCP process. How do we move a relationship from visibility to credibility, and then from credibility to profitability? And I think most new networkers and even many seasoned networkers aren't conscious and aware that model even exists. They are looking to go from invisibility to profitability. but they're also not conscious aware of what are the steps that it takes to move a relationship from one stage to the next. And I think that's just a powerful concept that people that engage with us really get out of our teachings. My mom used to tell me, slow down, you'll get there faster. And that's what understanding that model is actually all about.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Any other last minute words? So as
just
we're
agree with Tom, because that's a fundamental thing, that most people are network on the V model, V, visibility or invisible, and investing all their time there. And that's why so many people doesn't get so much out of network, because they are acting on the visibility area and not knowing how to take relationships further. So I fully agree with Tom. It's a powerful for strategies, powerful structure.
Yeah, if we look at this VCP model where profitability is where we get referrals, and we're asking for referrals and wanting business at visibility, we don't know you yet. And people get frustrated, like, why am I not getting referrals? And it's like, yeah, I ain't giving you referrals. I don't know you. It's too early in the relationship.
We're bad.
Yeah. So as we begin to sign off, I'm going to let us all say goodbye. However, we would typically say a goodbye as we wrap up our Happy International Networking Week. Thank you so very much for watching it live here. If you're watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, or perhaps you're watching this throughout the year on YouTube, do look out. Our next International Networking Week will be 2023. Whew, that's scary. I mean, it's a year from today, but that's really scary to think about. That's where we're going to be in a year. It is the first full week of February, so hopefully you have some exciting things planned. Thanks, everybody that was watching. It was awesome having you here. Enjoy the process when it comes to VCP for sure. And so I say goodbye. Stefan, you want to tell us goodbye?
Excuse me?
Say goodbye, however you
Hey då!
Agneta?
Hey då!
See you later.
Adios and happy networking, y'all.